What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to talk about like the Ravens and what's going on with the Ravens, right? They lost their last game against the Detroit Lions, right? And Lamar Jackson didn't play. They had the guy Hutley in there. He played, and he couldn't do enough to get the team past Detroit. But and I'm gonna play some audio from Shannon Sharp's show where they spoke about how like tension is heating up between the Ravens and the Ravens organization and Lamar Jackson, almost like they're trying to make Lamar Jackson the scapegoat, right? And so I I had been saying for a long time that Lamar Jackson, and I'm not apologizing for Lamar Jackson, but I always recognize that Lamar Jackson got to get better as a quarterback, not from a physical standpoint, but like from just like understanding the game. And because physically, when he first came to the league, physically he was dominant, right? You seen Lamar Jackson outrunning everybody and making people miss and stuff like that. And I said from the very beginning, like that is good, that's cool, but you're not going to be able to make a career out of that. Like all those hits you take and all that stuff like that wears you down, it slows you down. And here we are, Lamar Jackson. I think he's been in the league for 7 years. And he's always injured, like around this time of the season. You know, well, a few times he's been injured around this time of the season, like he is this year. It's hard to keep him healthy because he relies on his legs so much. He's limited as far as like he likes to throw over the middle, but people say, he can't throw outside of the numbers. Right. And so now they're saying that Lamar Jackson, like the team is a little bit peeved at him because he didn't develop the way they wanted him to develop, right? And I don't know, like, is that Lamar Jackson's fault or is that the team fault? Like, or should the blame be split? Like, because if you look at it, when Lamar Jackson first got to the Ravens, John Harbaugh basically was on the hot seat. People was calling for John Harbaugh's job. And then, all of a sudden, Lamar get there, the team start to have some success and turn it around. And that saved John Harbaugh's job, for at least another 6 or 7 years. Now that Lamar is on the decline, and I do think he's on a decline because he's not going to get any better physically, and he didn't develop his game to the point where as though he can be, that pocket quarterback. Like he's not Patrick Mahomes, he's not Joe Burrows, he's Lamar Jackson, and with him just trying to be a quarterback that relies mostly on his legs, like his legs bail him out. I think his in my opinion, I think his time is up or is coming to an end in Baltimore, right? So with that being said, man, let me play what Shannon Sharp and Chad Ochocinco had to say, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna give my opinion and add more to what they had to say.
Between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens front office, teetering on the edge of making or missing the playoff, the Baltimore Ravens are possibly playing a crucial Week 17 game without Lamar, who's dealing with a back injury that he sustained in Week 16. Baltimore columnist Mike Preston published a piece detailing a level of friction between the organization, in particular Lamar's conditioning and his handful of injuries this season, and a lengthy return from each of them. Preston also position the idea that the Ravens should look at every option with Lamar this offseason, adding that Lamar would love to play in Miami. Ian Rappaport reported, well, where this goes, it doesn't feel like to me there's a little bit inflection point. Lamar had the opportunity to re-up this contract before the offseason at the time, and a lot of people thought that he would. Did not happen. The Ravens are at very least have some things to figure out about and some relationships to discuss in the offseason. I'm not saying there's anything that's going to blow up, but at least there need to be some conversation about how everyone can move forward together.
Hey, Young.
All right, so let me just say this before Chad jump in here, right? See, as long as Lamar was having some type of success, and that, not that it's wrong, but as long as Lamar was having some type of success and everything was cool, right? Nobody was complaining about Lamar, not being able to do certain things on the field because, like, what he lacked, he was always able to bail himself out with his legs, and so that wasn't a problem. Now that he's not able to run away from guys like Myles Garrett, and it's a problem. So, like I said, I don't know who to blame. I think both parties are at fault. I think Lamar Jackson, is partly to blame, and I think the organization is partly to blame too for not demanding that Lamar Jackson be like, like put in the work to develop as a pocket quarterback, whereas though you could have longevity, right? And so let me get back to what Chad was getting ready to say.
Hey, Chad. How would Mike Preston know that there are issues going on with Lamar in the front office?
I ain't saying nothing. I'm just gonna let whatever happens. I'm gonna let it happen because see, if I say something, I hate the brother, so I'm gonna let it play out.
I said it earlier. Chad, listen to me. Listen to me. Anytime a reporter says something, I saw a lot of Ravens fans when I commented on the article and said, well, if they don't appreciate you, Lamar, come on down here to Miami. We appreciate you back at home.
I saw that.
Everybody jumped on my head talking about, oh, don't listen to Mike Preston. That's fake news. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I know you guys might like him as a reporter, but one thing they don't do is they will never write anything or say anything where their credibility is not intact. It is coming from in-house.
All right, so even if the Ravens are putting out stories about like they're not happy, like there's some friction between Lamar Jackson and the organization. To me, that's even if that's true, to me it's not a big deal, right? But because like it still comes down to Lamar Jackson. I don't care where you go, if he go to Miami or wherever else he go in the league, he's still got to be able to make those plays. Like, you can't blame the organization because you didn't develop as a quarterback. You didn't get better as a quarterback. You gotta and Coach JB said this on Jason Whitlock's show. Like, the quarterback that Lamar Jackson is today is the same quarterback he was when he left when he left Louisville, right? Coach JB even said that he may even be a worse quarterback because he may have even developed some bad habits. So if Lamar wants to go to the Miami Dolphins or wherever he wants to go at, that don't solve the problem. I can see if Lamar Jackson he got better as a quarterback and the Ravens never put any they never put any the help around him, or they didn't set him in a position to win, then that would be a different take. That that would give him leverage. He can go to Miami, but going to Miami, I don't think it solves his problem, so it's just almost like blaming the organization. Like I said, even though the organization may be at fault to a certain extent, but Lamar still has to accept responsibility for his, for his part of it.
Anything he writes, anything he's saying is coming from in-house. Listen to me. As much as y'all love Lamar, I love Lamar too. I can only see number 8, that young bull out of Pompano. I can only see number 8 in a Raven jersey. But this game that they're doing, leaking information purposely to the media, and then the media writes certain stuff, and you kind of wonder, oh, he just writing that out of nowhere. No, it's coming from inside the building. They do this on purpose. This is the game they play. They do this all the time. They're not just Lamar Jackson, to all the great players. When things aren't going well, when the season doesn't go the way it should go, oh, maybe it's time we do this. Oh, maybe it's time. They do it to everybody. And now it's his turn.
Like I said, I get that these organizations put out those narratives, right? And that's like the only way you can protect yourself is to be somebody who you give yourself leverage by like being a player. And they don't do this like as long as you are winning, they don't do this, right? As long as you still breaking away from you're able to separate yourself from the crowd, making people miss. Of course, they wouldn't do this to Lamar, but maybe the Ravens as an organization are tired, and they really want to move on.
So I'm just like just the thought of it, just the thought of a two-time MVP, one of the best top 3, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Someone writing the article and him being somewhere else. It's a possibility. It is as much as we love him. I'm just telling you, this is the way it works. The front office, the organization always leaks stuff like this just to get the fucking ball rolling. Always.
Ocho, I said, look, Lamar's been injured. Oh, Lamar's not injured. I said, well, he missed 5 games in 21. He missed 5 games in 22. He's already missed 3 games this. There's a possibility he'll miss 1 or more games the rest of the season. So that'll be 5 games. So that'll be 5, 5, and 5. Now, the thing is that when you pay a quarterback that kind of money, the best availability. Ocho, is what? Availability. And look, it's not his, I don't know anything about the conditioning or anything like that. And maybe it hasn't reached that boiling point in which Mike, because I know Mike, I was in Baltimore. Maybe it hasn't reached that point of no return. But maybe they're like, well, damn. Ugh.
All right, so my thing is though, like I said, like Chad says that all quarterbacks, go through this, especially like towards the end of their careers, when they are not the quarterback that they was at the beginning or towards the middle or in their prime. The team starts to, they did it before Lamar was there. Joe Flacco, people was, they was trying to separate the Ravens, trying to separate themselves from Joe Flacco. Right. And then and that's how Lamar he follows Joe Flacco. And Lamar was fresh, fresh new blood. So he was able to have some success and put a spark in the team. And now it just looks like the Ravens are looking for somebody else to come in and because they think that Lamar is over with for Lamar. And they think that maybe is done. Right. So like Chad said, this happens with everybody. And that's why I say that young players need to, or any professional, man, you just you want to maximize your physical ability and your mental ability at the same time. Like you want to peak at the same time, whereas though the game mentally and physically, you gotta and most players are not able to do that, but you gotta peak in both of those areas at the same time in order to have some success, right? And you gotta understand the game from a mental standpoint and study the game from a mental standpoint. And so I don't know if Lamar Jackson do go to another team, like how much success he'll have. He's not going to be at this point in time. He's not going to be able to run away from people. So that means that if you can't get away from people, you got to be able to make throws. You got to be able to make all the throws over the inside the numbers and outside the numbers on that field. You got to be able to do that. You got to be able to move around in the pocket. And I know that Lamar Jackson, from time to time, he'll be able to scramble for a first down and stuff like that. It's not like, he's that beat up, but you can't like every play, be a threat to just take off, because you that's how you get injured. That's why he's missing like Shannon Sharp said, that's why he missed like 5 games a season for like the past 2 or 3 seasons. For the past 3 seasons, he missed like 5 games a year. And so But that's my take on it, man. I just think that, you know, a lot of times players who have exceptional physical abilities, man, just they rely on those physical abilities until those physical attributes wear out, and then they realize that they had not developed other skills that you know and learn the game to a point where as though you decline physically, but you grow mentally, and you know he didn't develop those skills, and so now he found himself in a place where the Ravens are really turning on him as an organization. He saved he ain't saved the organization, but he turned the organization around for a few years. He saved John Harbaugh's career, and now the organization is ready to move on to the next new thing. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check y'all out in the next video. Peace.